So my MWA1 is on The Revenant, and it was a movie review. And The Revenant is based on a true story about Hugh Glass, who was a fur trapper, and he was traveling with his son and a group of expeditioners, and Glass was guiding them through the wilderness back to base camp. And he sought out to look ahead of the team, and while he was ahead, he was viciously attacked by a bear, sustaining life-threatening injuries, and he was left behind with John Fitzgerald and Bridger, and they were left behind, and they were given a reward if they were to stay with Glass until he healed, or in some cases where he would eventually die, and he was left behind with them. And John Fitzgerald, who is pictured on the left, he was in charge, and he made the decision to leave Glass behind, and he was telling everybody, let's go, we're gonna leave. However, Glass's son, Hawk, didn't approve, and so John Fitzgerald killed Hawk. And Hugh Glass, he witnessed the death of his son, so he pushed himself back to rehabilitation to seek vengeance on Fitzgerald, who killed his son. So he was able to walk, and he pushed himself to continue healing and to push himself to keep going mile after mile after mile to find John Fitzgerald. And he eventually made it back to camp, where he was looking for Fitzgerald, and he soon found out that Fitzgerald wasn't at base camp anymore, and he fled. So Glass headed into the mountains to go look for Fitzgerald, where he and John Fitzgerald started to duel. They fought against each other, and here in this picture it shows that them fighting, and he was going to kill John Fitzgerald because that's what he wanted. He wanted to kill him for killing his son, but eventually he decided not to kill John Fitzgerald, and he later then sent him down the river to a tribe of Native Americans, and they killed him, and Glass started to walk back to camp, but he soon got tired, and he eventually died from the wounds he sustained from the battle against Fitzgerald. And so one of my bad reviews about this movie was this clip right here. Is he's falling down a cliff into trees, and when he did that, he maybe broke a rib or an arm, but he didn't die. I think this clip right here, this showed that he should have died from how far up the cliff was, and he was falling into trees. I think that should have killed him, but it didn't, and I think that was a bit unrealistic. So I'm gonna go back a few pages, and the bear scene right here, I also think this was a bit unrealistic because the wounds he sustained from this bear attack, it should have killed him because he broke his leg, and he had a bunch of rips into his back, and it basically ripped him open, and he ripped his throat, and I think that rip to the throat should have killed him. However, it did not, and I think that was a bit unrealistic because he should have died. However, I think the positive review about this movie was that when he was pushing himself to heal himself back into rehabilitation so he can seek justice for his son, because his son was the only living family he had left because his wife died and now his son died. And I think him pushing himself back into rehabilitation to seek out justice for his son's death, I think that was really unique, and I think that was really cool because he's fighting for his son who died. And I think